Alright guys, TouchCrab back again today, hope you're enjoying your Saturday so far, and today we're going to talk about Rostermania once again. Just as I thought Rostermania was coming down to a conclusion, most of these teams we knew, a spanner has been thrown in the works. Potentially, it's possible the pros are completely baiting us today, but I wanted to talk about the possibility of what could be going on with the Seattle rumor, especially in relation to the Optic Gaming Los Angeles squad of Slasher, Kenny and TJ. It looks like it's going to stay, joined by a fourth. We're not sure who that fourth was going to be. It was going to be Priester. Draza has been confirmed back onto the team as well, but probably as a substitute, and they are looking for another starter in addition to that core three. That could be Gunless, and that could possibly be what the Seattle Surge guys were talking about last night. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Rocketing toward 32,000 subscribers and beyond. It's just superb stuff. This came out from the Ultra yesterday. They've been doing these bait tweets over the last couple of days. They say our 2021 squad is Eggs, Crim, Marky B, Jacob and Sensor. However, if we do take a closer look at this image here, you'll see, well, maybe you'll have to zoom in or whatever, but you can see Bance actually is, well, effectively they have their names on their jerseys here and their hoodies. So Bance, Cami, Methods and Kleenex, effectively confirming that is the starting lineup. We pretty much knew this anyway, but just wanted to confirm it if you guys are Toronto fans and wanted to be absolutely sure what the team is going to be next season. Looks like that exact starting squad from last time, minus Classic, and then they're going to go from there. This is what happened yesterday then. So Octane Sam, of course, on the Seattle Surge, they extended his contract for this season. I mean, we were talking yesterday about player salaries. I imagine Octane's on a pretty big salary, but Seattle probably thought if we let him go into free agency with the intention of signing him back, that's probably not going to happen. We've probably got to keep Octane, one of the best ARs in the game, no doubt, and can continue to be so in coming seasons. We've got to try and keep him on the team. But they released absolutely everybody else from the lineup. Sam tweets this out, and then after this, he then deletes it, right? And, you know, if this was just a big bait effort by all the people in the scene, you would imagine he wouldn't have deleted it, because then that kind of, well, maybe if he deletes it now, it heightens the suspicion or something. So maybe it is something like that. But, you know, I'm going to give it like a 60-40 chance that there's something actually behind these tweets, especially as we look at another couple in a second. Now, what Octane may be talking about here is because last season he's talked a couple of times about how there was this lineup rumored with Octane on Seattle. Then they had, I think, Arcity's Envoy slacked and like Enable was going to be the team, something like that. And then it kind of fell through because there was these, of course, links to the Huntsman, and then Arcity's ended up going over there, and Envoy went over there, and Octane didn't get the team that he wanted for last season, and ended up with a pretty lackluster squad, right, with Slacked and Enable on it, but also we had Karma on the team and Apathy on the team, and, you know, it obviously didn't work out great. Karma ended up retiring, and they had a pretty awful season, finishing in dead last place in the league, even though Octane is certainly one of the most talented ARs in the game. So maybe what Octane is saying here is that once again, I have a good squad rumored and a good squad ready to go, but nothing really set in stone yet, because September the 14th is when the 2021 season officially begins, and when I imagine we will start to get some announcements from teams, and when players will officially be signing and getting everything set in stone. So Octane may be implying here that, look, last year I had this great team rumored, it fell through because RCT's got this offer to go onto the Huntsman. You know, who knows if something similar is happening here, and the rumoured squad for Seattle has once again fallen through, and leaving Octane and the rest of the guys on that rumoured squad in a pretty difficult position. We get a similar thing from Procini, Sai, etc. This one not been deleted. You know, who knows what's going on, but a couple of guys on this rumoured Seattle squad tweeting this definitely implies something is going on. And before we get into exactly what this rumour is, Slasher AL, of course, Austin Lidicote then tweets out Rostermania emergency meeting, maybe saying that something's going on with the OGLA squad, which could be linked to what we're going to talk about here with the Seattle Surge. So this came out a few days ago from Cronut CDL Intel. This is pretty much the most up-to-date list of Rostermania rumors that we have right now. So let's go through it. This is how it looks right now. These are a number of teams. Of course, the Seattle Surge rumor that I talked about a while ago on this channel and is pretty much maintained to be the same rumor until yesterday, effectively, is this one. Pristini, Looney, Gunless and Octane. Octane, of course, on the starting lineup. Gunless and Pristini, after a pretty difficult season over at the Chicago Huntsmen, they were looking to be a team of two once again, reuniting, I suppose, that E-United squad that had some good success back in the Infinite Warfare days, and bringing in Looney as well, who Gunless, of course, has played with in the past. Octane has played with in the past to good success on the Rise Nation squads. Gunless, of course, playing with Looney and winning 3 championships with him in the World War II days on that Rise Nation team. They won the Atlanta squad, or they won the Atlanta event with Methods on the squad. Then they won Anaheim and Seattle when they brought Slasher into the team, and of course, Slasher and TJ were on that squad. Pretty important when we're going to talk about OGLA potential in just a second here. So if you're looking at this team, I don't necessarily like it, right? You've got Gunless and Octane, who are certainly like a powerhouse duo. Octane and Gunless on your kind of like AO and your flex role. That's one of the best duos you could possibly ask for in the entire game, to be honest, if they got on in terms of chemistry, which is a question mark on any team really with Gunless. Ian and Octane, of course, has talked about how he didn't really want to play with Gunless in the past, and Gunless maybe was even linked to go onto this Seattle Surge last year, and it fell through because Octane didn't want to team with him. So maybe coming back to bite him, you could argue in a sense what's happening potentially over the last 24 hours or so. But then we look at this SMG duo, right, of Pristini and Looney, and I think you can certainly have one of these players on your team. Like Pristini and Looney, both very serviceable players, as especially Looney, I suppose, would add a lot in terms of the communication stuff and the leadership role on the team. But having both of them really sets yourself up for a difficult time, because Pristini and Looney, both relatively inconsistent players. You know what their peak is going to be in terms of performance. You don't necessarily know what the peak is going to be on some of these other players, like the likes of Hydra potentially coming into the league. And to be honest, the lifeblood of teams nowadays is the SMG duo. I think if you ask pretty much any pro in the league, or especially any assault rifle or any like flex player, what their two players would be that they first wanted to pick up onto a team, 99% of them, or a large percentage of them, would say a BZ and Sim. Like, get that duo straight away into my squad. That's what I would do if I was a general manager and I had pick of the bunch. I would just choose a BZ and Sim, get that dominant SMG duo in, and then you can build around the squad. And that's really how a squad is formed now. And we saw last season, right, with Octane just as that main assault rifle, even though he was definitely shooting very straight, I mean, like, the team didn't get many results because the SMG duo wasn't quite there, and you could argue that Octane wasn't helping them out enough, but really, like, the SMGs are the important factor in a team, to be honest, and I think we've seen that over a number of seasons. So having Pristini and Looney as your SMGs is a pretty difficult one, I think, because if this was to be the squad, then you're going to get outclassed a lot of the time by a number of these other SMG duos, and that's going to put your AR guys in a pretty difficult spot. So I wasn't sure if I liked this team when it was rumored. I thought that maybe Seattle were making similar mistakes to what they, made last season, and it's possible that they will do similar things once again. And what you could certainly argue is that Gunless now is realizing that to some degree and is considering other options, because Gunless was actually linked to the Optic Gaming Los Angeles team mid-season when he was on there, when he was benched from the Huntsman, right, and he was looking for options. He was linked to potentially going to Optic Gaming Los Angeles at the time. And then you've got to consider that, well, which team would Gunless potentially want to go to if it isn't Seattle Surge? Los Angeles Optic is obviously the perfect choice for him, playing with TJ and Slasher, two guys that he's had great success with, as I talked about a few seconds ago, on the Rise Nation team in World War II. Now, Priester was linked to this LA Optic team in that role. That would have been a great team, to be honest. I really like the look of that. I mean, you could have Priester or Kenny on the flex, whichever way you want to go. If Gunless comes into this team, which is definitely possible, because of course Priester has then been linked to this Minnesota Rocker team, playing alongside Major Maniac from the Atlanta FaZe squad, and then playing alongside Attach and Accuracy, which is kind of an interesting one. Not sure if I like that one either, quite frankly, but we can certainly talk about this in more length as and when these teams do get confirmed. But Gunless definitely over the last 24 hours, maybe looking at his squad he's got around him, Octane, Pristini and Looney, looking at some of the other teams and some of the other SMG duos to potentially work with, and think like, what are my chances of really winning an event with this team? Maybe they're there, but maybe we just don't have the firepower on this squad to get the job done. However, you look at Los Angeles Optic Gaming, you're looking at Kenny, TJ, and Slasher, guys that you've won with in the past that have had great success in many different titles, and Gunless might be thinking, well, damn, that is maybe a more serviceable option. And with Priester moving on to the Rocker and maybe that being more solidified, Gunless might be thinking that might be the place for me to go, especially because things aren't getting, set in stone as of yet. So this is a possible situation. Seattle Surge may be looking for one with Octane, Pristini, and Looney. Gunless may be going to the Los Angeles Optic because they needed a fourth, and it's pretty difficult to say who they would exactly get. And if they wanted a target, Gunless would be a good target, right? Because TJ and Kenny are your SMGs. Kenny can kind of do either. He can be a flex or he can be an SMG. Maybe he is more comfortable in that flex role, to be honest, than the SMG. But, he's done it in the past in World War II. I'm sure he can have good success again with whatever the SMGs are in this game. If it's the AK-74U, plays pretty similar, to be honest, to the PPSH and what I've seen so far in the World War II days. Gunless is your flex, Slasher is your main AR. Damn, that is a good team, especially in a tryout game where it's very possible that we have more ARs on the map, as we've tended to see over the last couple of, tryout games especially, I would say. So this is a possible Los Angeles Optic squad. Priester, as I said, was rumored to LA Optic, now potentially to this Rocket team. And now Seattle are asking themselves a question, right? Who the hell do we get? If this is the case, could be complete bait, but just talking about Rostermania rumors here, as it is entertaining to do. If Gunless was to go onto this team, who does Seattle Surge try and get as a fourth, right? And John has been a question mark. You guys have been asking a few questions about John in the comment section below in the last couple of videos. I'm not really 100% sure. I know he's in discussions with teams. I'm not even sure if he's necessarily cleared to play for next year, though. So big question mark really around John. But if they could get him, this could work, right? Because you've got John in the team, then maybe Looney runs the SMG, Pristini could be on the flex, that might possibly work. He did it a little bit this season on the Huntsman team to some decent success when the M4 meta started to come into play, when the MV5 was initially nerfed, so this could certainly be an option. I mean, of course, great success in the past with Octane on the Luminosity Gaming squads in the past, so if they can get John, that might work. There's certainly some other considerations, though. This came out from Crone a couple of days ago, talking about a number of the free agents. There's some more guys in addition to this. I mean, Enable, for example, like Jerd is out there. Of course, Scraps and Wuskin, as we're going to talk about later today. Apathy now rumored onto the Los Angeles Guerrillas, but Slacked could come back. I mean, Asim you could bring in. Depends what you're looking for, right? You're probably looking for a flex player to replace Gunless. Temp, of course, is out there. Havoc Zero, of course, could be a great option. He's done things with a lot of different roles in the past. GodRx Classic as well could work from Octane's past on similar teams as well. And I think he was also on that Rise Nation team that Looney was on as well. So Classic could be someone to consider. Methods and Bans look like they're going to be solidified then onto that Toronto Ultra team, and a lot of the Paris Legion guys, a lot of the Los Angeles Guerrillas guys could also be in consideration here. So there is certainly a number of options on the market. I don't think Seattle Surge will have an issue actually finding a player, but they may have an issue finding a serviceable player that they want to play with, which actually can replace Gunless. And if it were me, I would be on the side of trying to bring in another Slayer SMG and have one of these guys, Pristini or Looney, probably Pristini, actually run the flex, and have Looney and another SMG actually be your slayers, because the problem is with Pristini and Looney, you're not going to quite get the slaying that some of these other SMG duos are going to be able to put out. So I would go down the route of trying to get an SMG if I was in this position of Seattle Surge. But maybe nothing's happening at all and all these tweets are pure speculation and just bait for the pro community, and maybe I've been strung along for the ride. If I have, fair enough, fair play, Octane and co. But if this is the case, I'm sure we will hear more things about it in the coming days. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below on this stuff. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.